I want to talk now about the concept of student-centred learning. This concept has been at the heart of the discourse around adult literacy for the past 40 years, and to some extent it still is. Many teachers I speak to complain about the difficulty of bringing a student-centred approach to their practice with a large class and a curriculum that explicitly prescribes the learning outcomes. The concept of student-centred learning refers to a specific set of teaching learning practices, not all of which are applicable in some contemporary program contexts, especially within the VET context. However, it's worth looking into just what these practices entail, the extent to which and the ways in which they're applicable in the present teaching contexts is perhaps a discussion for another day. The term student-centred has been a sort of omnibus term in the adult literacy field, including, of course, adult numeracy. I'm talking about adult numeracy also here. The teaching learning practices that are suggested by the term student-centred include student-directed learning and a curriculum based on student needs. So the learning program is negotiated with the student and involves student self-assessment rather than external assessment. It involves also concern with the learner as a whole person and learning that helps to develop independence. Many of these principles were drawn from adult learning theory, such as that developed by Malcolm Knowles, for example. So based on these principles, student-centred learning involves a range of methods or strategies to address particular learners' needs. Fundamental to this is beginning with a comprehensive pre-course assessment and, of course, continuous formative assessment also. And this involves not only assessment of what the person can read and write or apply their numeracy skills to, but also why they're having trouble with the tasks they'd like to be able to manage more easily. It involves both an assessment of the student's cognitive skills and also an understanding of any affective hurdles they might have to their learning. The skilled teacher can then decide on a number of methods or strategies or approaches which might best address that individual student's learning needs. And this might include phonics-based methodologies, or it might include strengthening of other reading strategies, or it might include familiarity with and use of the text features of whatever appropriate genres that student might need to manage in their particular workplace or their personal or community contexts. It also invariably involves helping the student to strengthen their confidence in their literacy and numeracy abilities. In the past, when these student-centred individualised programs have been possible, there have been many program evaluations, rather than methodological evaluations, that have been designed to establish students' perceptions of their success. And overwhelmingly, they demonstrated that, yes, the programs were successful and valued by the students. And ultimately, that's really the only evaluation that counts, isn't it? If we accept that reading is about making meaning from what we read and about having, about having the confidence to critically evaluate what we read and to use it in our lives, then the student perception of whether they're able to do that is ultimately all that counts. Adult literacy teaching is about trying to ensure that our students are able to use their newfound skills in the real world. In Frere's words, we need to help them read the world and not just the word. Approaches that take an understanding of reading as a meaning-making process are, of course, more difficult to evaluate than a program that focuses on direct teaching at the individual sub-skill level, though they're not impossible to evaluate. For example, the work of Stephen Reeder in the United States has shown us how this can be done in a longitudinal way, and how we can look at what difference literacy classes can make to the individual's life. This is a much more meaningful measure of program success than measurement of short-term gains of some of the individual subskills that are involved in literacy.